Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a different type of video. It's not going to be a makeup video. Um, it's going to be more of a live personal experience, and I just want more women to be aware about it. Um, it's going to be about endometriosis and my journey that I've been on through it. So if you don't want to hear about periods or stuff like that, female reproductive organs and stuff like that, then click out of the video. But if you want to stay and listen to my journey that I've been through, feel free to stay and subscribe. So I'm trying to think of where to start at. I do have some notes here of what to go over. Basically, my whole journey started when I was 16, whenever I started getting my periods. They started out super light, but then once my body, I guess, tried to regulate itself, they became crazy heavy. And luckily I never cramped. I'm not quite sure why. I never cramped too bad, but there was some instances where I had bled through a tampon within an hour, and I didn't think nothing about it. I was thinking, man, this is a bad period, but I didn't have any cramps, and it always wouldn't be so heavy. Now, I'm thinking I went on birth control around the time when I turned 17. I'm thinking when I was about 17, because I still having bad period symptoms and things like that. So I went to my gynecologist, talked to her about the way my back would be in so much pain during my period. But I never got cramps. Like, I'd feel nauseous, sick in my stomach. My bowels would be going as they would. My back, though, would really hurt, and I already have this thing wrong with my back anyways, so all the pressure and pain from my period would make it that much worse. So I went to my gynecologist. I go to Park West. They are one of the best teams I've ever been to. Love them dearly. I went to the gynecologist around 17 years old, I believe, and they put me on, I first got the Depo-Provera, I think that's how you say it, shot. It's supposed to not give you a period for 3 months. That thing made me go crazy. One thing that they should, advertise is if you already have depression and anxiety, don't get that shot. I know it's different for everybody, but whenever I got that shot, I became very depressed after having it. So, but the shot made you not have a period for 3 months, and after the 3rd month, you would go get the other shot. So 3 more months you wouldn't get it. I got the shot once because it messed with my hormones very bad. But that was the first type of hormones I ever had put in my body. So then I went back and I just got put on a pill. That pill, I was on it for, gosh, I know I was 17. So 18, 19, 20. Okay, I had my daughter when I was 21. So I was on it for 3.5 years. Because I'm now 22, which is crazy to think about. But I got put on the pill. I was on for 3 years, never had a period. It was wonderful. And then after I had my daughter, as soon as I had my daughter, I swear to you, I thought I would never stop bleeding, and that sounds disgusting, but that's how it was for my body. Of course, after you have a child, your body from 6 to 8 weeks will just do its own thing. Your body's just been through so much trauma. It's trying to regulate itself back. And of course, at my 6th-week postpartum appointment, I got put back on birth control, which is the birth control I am on now. And something about it didn't seem right. There were some months when my period would be super light, super simple. And then I noticed there were some months that my period was so bad, it would have me in the bed cramped over in so much pain that I didn't want to do nothing, but I had a new daughter to tend to. So I had to just not even think about myself, and I just had to push through it. And I will say, I never had cramps before I had my daughter. And see, after I had her, my body just went through some crazy, your body's trying to get these hormones figured out, trying to get them where they go, trying to get back to your normal self. My body, on the other hand, didn't do very well. Of course, I bled for probably 2 months straight after having her, just from all the extra blood, all that. And then I was put on birth control. It was trying to figure itself out. After I was on it for a few months, it kind of helped, but then my periods became bad again. Like, it was bad. I personally feel like after having my daughter, from then on is when all this flared up really bad. But basically, I kept going back to my doctor saying, hey, I'm having bad cramps, what can I do? And of course I'd say, oh, they're just bad cramps, whatever. Well, that's not just the thing. I will say I had her in February, so about from May to August, my body, September, okay. So like through the summer to like September or October, one month it'd be light, next month it'd be super heavy to the point I don't want to move. I was cramping terribly bad because I never experienced cramps before. So this was just the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. So then I would keep going back to my doctor, and she'd want to switch my birth control, and I was like, look, I already went through postpartum depression, and I'm still honestly slightly dealing with some of the side effects of my body trying to regulate now on my birth control after having my surgery for endo. But I was like, no, I don't want new birth control. I don't want my mental health to go down the drain because it scared me. So I went back and forth for almost twice a month just trying to get it through their head. Hey, my mom, she had endometriosis. She had this surgery done 5 times. And then my cousin, she had the surgery done 8 times. So it was destined to fall in my family. It runs in my family bad. So chances of me having it were pretty high. So after all this fussing, going to the doctor, trying to figure out what's wrong with me, around Christmas is when all of it really showed its true colors. I bled for 2 months straight, and I'm not talking about spotting here and there. No. I was bleeding through a tampon every hour, if not every 2 hours. And I don't know what was going on with my body. It was one of the most inconvenient things I've ever had to deal with. But I went to my doctor and I was like, hey, I'm bleeding very badly. I don't know what's going on. And I know I went to the doctor 2 or 3 times around Christmas, and they wanted to make sure that I wasn't anemic because I was losing so much blood that it could have caused me to be anemic. So on January 17th, I decided to have a surgery, which is it's a diagnostic laparoscopy. And what it is she's like, if this birth control doesn't work, then we will have you come back, we will set you up for your surgery, and then we will go in and see what's causing all this bleeding. So that's what we did. I didn't try the new birth control because I was uncomfortable with it. I didn't want to try anything else. So I went to my doctor, told her I wasn't comfortable taking it, and we scheduled my surgery for January 17th. And it was about time, because even to me, if there was nothing wrong with my body, I still wanted to have the surgery done to make sure that I wasn't going crazy, essentially. Okay, so sorry I had to go tend to my daughter to get her down for a nap. That's why you probably heard the screaming in the background. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, I didn't try that new birth control out. I was super uncomfortable with it, and I knew it wasn't gonna work. Because if I had endometriosis, I don't want a medicine that would just cover it up. You know, like I wanted to be fixed if there was something going wrong. So I went back to my doctor. She said, let's schedule the surgery. It was scheduled for January 17th, 2020. So now I'm about a month postpartum from the surgery. Um, and of course, when I woke up from my surgery, you know, I was super excited to have it done. My mom was there in the room with me when I woke up. And she's like, you know, you should feel a lot better. And I was like, because in my head I'm thinking, what did she find? Like, that's what I wanted to know. But that was my biggest concern. And I had stage 3 endometriosis growing in my body, causing me all those painful periods, like stupid bad cramps, just things like that. Like all my problems came back to that. I really feel like after having my daughter, really like made it flare up. Like I truthfully believe that. Because I feel like once it hits stage 2, there's 4 stages. Like the 4th stage is the severe stage, and I was a stage 3, so it was pretty bad. But since I've told you my story, I wanted to just go over some symptoms and what it is, just so you get more of a better idea of what it is and what to look for. So basically, what is endometriosis? It is where, so when you have your period every month, you have the lining inside your uterus. That lining should stay inside your uterus. It is where the lining of your uterus grows on the outside of your ovaries, of your uterus, and it connects itself to your bowels. It can cause scarring lesions. It can cause cysts, which I also had PCOS. I've had a few cysts grow on my ovaries and bust, and I've had to go to the ER over them. But it's basically where the inside lining of your uterus grows to the outside of your uterus and attaches itself to any organs it can touch. Now, 1 in 10 women do have the disease. It's sad to say, but there is no cure for it. You can't die from it or anything like that. But 1 in 10 women will most likely have it, and they don't know it. There are 4 stages. There's stage 1, which is minimal, stage 2, which is mild, stage 3 is moderate, and then stage 4 is severe. Mine was a stage 3. And the only treatment there is surgery, which is like what I had, or birth control, which I was also on for 3.5 years, which I feel like that may have paused it a little bit, because every month whenever your period comes, whenever the lining inside your uterus sheds the blood, it makes the other stuff shed blood, and that's why you bleed just randomly sometimes. And it can cause, basically when you have your period every month, that like the hormones feed the endo to grow more on other organs of your body. Now here are some facts about it, and I can agree with them. So the first one is 8 to 10 years is the average wait time for being diagnosed with it. It took me 7 years to be diagnosed with it. You have a higher risk if family relatives have it, so you're 2 to 3 times higher risk if your family has it. Chances are you will probably have it. And the thing about it is if you were ever complaining about having to not go to work, you couldn't go to school, you couldn't do daily activities because of the pain you were feeling, there's about 10 hours a week lost in productivity. Like, you're losing that time due to this pain that you're feeling. And then a lot of women also, I was a lucky one. If you have endometriosis, it can tend to cause infertility issues if you want to have kids. It's about a 30 to 50% infertility rate. Like I said, my cousin, she had the surgery done 8 times. Her, on the other hand, she did have some issues with trying to have kids. When she does have a little boy now, he's 12, but you know, they had some issues trying to get pregnant. So it is a real thing. And then some symptoms, I've just got a list right here. There's painful periods, severe pelvic pain, pain during sex, that's a big one. Painful ovulation, you constantly feel fatigued or tired, you have heavy bleeding, you have urination, bowel pains. That's one thing that I will say, because they wanted me to go in for a colonoscopy in October to make sure that it wasn't my bowels messing with me, because I did have a history of IBS when I was a kid. So I did that so we could mark that out. And luckily I didn't have IBS anymore. My colon looked perfectly fine. And then when I was a kid, I had a lot of UTI issues. So like all that just now makes sense that I had endo the entire time and it was planting itself in my body. You can have bleeding and pain between periods, like breakthrough bleeding. I had a lot of that. Ovarian cysts. If you have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, it can be basically a sister or a distant cousin to endometriosis. If you have one, you will probably have the other. And then if your periods last longer than 7 days, I was bleeding for 2 months straight, so it was absolutely terrible. And then if you feel like you have digestive problems, which comes back to the whole bowel issues. And then there is some myths and facts that I did write down. So missing school or work due to pain is normal. That is not. That's not normal at all. So that's definitely a myth. The level of pain relates to the stage of endo. So that's the thing. Some women, like I had stage 3, I wasn't in constant pain the whole time. You could have stage 3 and hardly feel anything. Or you could be in stage 1 and it could feel like you're being slashed in half. It all just depends. And then a hysterectomy or childbirth is a cure for it. I've already kind of talked to my doctor about possibly having a hysterectomy to just get rid of like the main portion of it out of like my uterus and ovaries and stuff like that. Just take all of it out so I don't feel it anymore. A hysterectomy doesn't always fix it, and definitely having a child doesn't fix it either, because after having her, mine flared up more and then I found out that I had it. Because endo can just grow more than just in your uterus. It can grow in your bowels, it can grow in your back, it can grow in your kidneys, it can go anywhere. Like if it can get to it, it will probably attach itself to it. So I'm hoping to have a hysterectomy whenever the time happens, but I'm still not going to be fully fixed from endometriosis. And then one more thing I wanted to go over is the treatments is a surgery, and that's what I had. There's 2 different types of surgeries that you can have. There's an ablation, which is where they burn it out, and that's what they did to me. Or there is, what is it called? Excision, and that's where they actually take the whole root of it out of your body. Thing about it is with ablation, it's where they burn it out, get what they can, but it can cause additional scarring and allow lesions to grow back, similar to how slash and burn can damage the land, and it's only temporary. So like let's say you have a tree and you cut it down, well those roots are still in the ground and it's going to try to grow back. With a excision, it's where they actually take the entire root of it out of your body, so you don't have the chances of it growing back. With me having an ablation, it will more than likely grow back. just because the roots are already there in my like bowels and stuff, because you can't remove organs you actually need. So this is going to be in there for the rest of my life. So more doctors are willing to do an ablation more than an excision, because insurance covers more on an ablation. But the pros to an ablation, like what I had, you have, it says typically less expensive and insurance is more likely to cover it. It provides short-term relief because it will grow back. You have a shorter recovery time. Mine was not 6 to 8 weeks. My recovery time was 2 weeks. I couldn't pick up more than 10 pounds. And then, of course, more surgeons, like I said, are trained in ablation. The cons, high rates, 40 to 60% of reoccurrence 1 to 2 years after surgery. So to me, if I have to keep having these surgeries done to, I guess, make me feel somewhat better, then I will do it. Let's see. Higher and earlier recurrent rates of endo. So like I said, it's going to grow back. Higher potential for complications and pain. Higher risk of heat damaging underlying tissue of organs. I mean, you're putting heat around your organs, that's never a good thing, and it will cause scar tissue. Let's see, and then the pros to an excision, which is where the root is taken out, so you're not leaving the disease behind. It can be performed with surgical tools as a laser used as a knife. The pros to it is it gives you more long-term relief, and so it's about 75 to 85%, so you're going to feel a whole lot more better because it's not even there in your body no more growing. And then it ensures total removal of endo detected by a surgeon, allows for pathological diagnosis of tissues, so you'll be able to, they can study it more and see that it needs to be removed, what to look for. Lower rates of endometriosis occurring, so if the root's taken out, you're not going to have it grow back because it's not there to begin with. And then higher precision means especially able to treat severe endo. So if you have really bad endometriosis, like a stage 4 for instance, they can actually take they can take the roots out and you're going to feel a lot better. And then the cons, typically more expensive, and insurance is a lot less likely to cover. They will likely to cover less about the surgery. Even if 90% of the disease is removed, complete remission is not guaranteed. So you could essentially have the surgery done, and it might not help you feel better. It's, everyone's different. It's more invasive, so you'll feel a lot better faster. But fewer surgeons specialize in the excision method, and it does take longer recovery time. I'm not quite sure exactly how long it would be. If mine was just 2 weeks, I would think, I know if you have like a hysterectomy, it takes about 6 weeks for your body to recover from it. So I would think about 6 to 8 weeks possibly, because they're actually like taking the root out of your like body. So I just wanted to make a video like this just to make women more aware about it, because a lot of women don't know that they have endometriosis. And I for the longest time kept thinking I had it, but then I was thinking, I don't know, I'm just crazy. But then my mom had it, and other women in my family have had it. So I was just like, I'm gonna keep going to the doctor until they actually listen to me. And luckily my doctor that delivered my daughter did my surgery for this as well. So she really listens. You want to find a doctor that really listens to you and your issues that you're having, because I didn't want to be put on a different birth control. Because that's the thing, like, if I was put on a different birth control and this whole time I had the disease, I would have never known it, and it would have probably just gotten a lot worse. So, but yeah, if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to follow me on my Instagram. It's Jessie's girl _81. I have pictures of myself on there.